Hello, Linda. How are you?
Fine, thanks. And you? How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you so much for coming through.
And I also want to thank you for inviting me over.
Anytime. So, what's your favorite beer?
Unfortunately, I'm not a beer person. I don't take lagers. I am a whiskey drinker and I love my Glen 18.
Wow, that's very fancy. If you were to become the first female president of Zimbabwe, what would you implement in your first 100 days?
In my first 100 days, I would make sure that we clean up Zimbabwe. And I know someone would ask, how do you clean up Zimbabwe? Almost every Zimbabwean citizen is involved in one corrupt or unethical activity in either way that they are involved in it. So for starters, I would ensure that we clean up our government departments, we become more accountable, more transparent, and ensure that everyone is doing what is supposed to be done according to the book. I would also cut on extravagant expenditure, extravagant celebrations, extravagant pacts. We don't need to be wasting money on things that do not develop our country. And all those funds that are going to be saved from all these cuts that we're going to abolish and all those things that we're going to ban, we will ensure that we put those funds into our public health sector, we put those funds into our schools, we put that money into good use by ensuring decent salaries for our civil servants and decent social security for vulnerable groups in society and the pensioners. In the first 100 days, as the president of Zimbabwe, and maybe I should actually say as the first woman president in Zimbabwe, would also ensure that we have renegotiations with multinational companies to ensure that we have better deals that benefit Zimbabwe from the extraction of our minerals. And lastly, I will make sure that everyone is able to have a conducive environment to do business so as to ensure wealth creation for the younger generation and everyone who has felt that they've been marginalized economically for the past 40 years in Zimbabwe.
What's your opinion on the objectification of women in the media and in politics?
It is unfortunate that Zimbabwean women are still viewed as second-class citizens in Zimbabwe. It is unfortunate that media is also an active participant in demeaning the value of women in Zimbabwe. If we look back and trace backwards, in our true African context, our true African culture, women are respected in society. Women are respected in our culture. That is why kuchibadarwa mombe yehumai, hakuna mombe yehubaba, zvichiratidza ukoshwa hwemudzimai. It is unfortunate that after adopting cultures that are not ours, for example Christianity, which looks down upon women, we have adopted this stance that women are not that important in our society. Patriarchal dominance, misogyny is the order of the day in Zimbabwe, and that has to change. And I have broken and shattered glass ceilings in regards to how women are viewed in politics. I have managed to mobilize people, mobilize workers, and start a new political party led by a woman with a national chairperson who is a woman. And if everything goes according to plan, I'm hoping that when we get to our first elective Congress, we will have a female president, a female vice president, a female SG, and a female national chairperson. Because women can do it. It is just the lens that we view women that keeps on women, that keeps women in less powerful positions in political parties. It is unfortunate again. I will continue using the word unfortunate because women are in an unfortunate position in this country because of the way that we were raised, the way that we grow up in our communities, where the girl child is just expected to do their house chores and to get married eventually. So at the end of the day, Labour, Economists and African Democrats, a party that I lead, we abolished the Women's League, the Women's Assembly, like they call it in other political parties, because we realized that that is the organ that keeps women vulnerable, abused, without any opportunities in political parties, where they've got a perceived illusion of power, which they do not have. In our party, we ensure that 50-50 becomes a reality and that women have real power. And we're hoping that other political parties follow suit across Africa to ensure that 50-50 just does not become a song or a constitutional provision in the constitution which is not being adhered to.
What 5 books would you suggest that every young woman should read?
The Pan-African Youth by Dr. No, he's not a doctor, by Engineer Tom Wesinga. from Uganda. The Outlaw by Kate Bornstein. It's actually The Gender Outlaw by Kate Bornstein. I would also recommend Beyond the Enclave, which is a book that was written by Ledris, which speaks about the context of our Zimbabwean economy. And one book that I like the most is a book by Ian Smith, where he speaks about the aftermath of the independence, which is called The Bitter Harvest. That is a must read, especially for the younger generation, for those who want to get into politics, for those who want to be leaders, for them to understand where we are coming from and where we are going. And last but not least, I don't think that a young woman can be a leader without reading The Genius of a Woman, which was written by Janice Kaplan. Those are the 5 books that I would recommend for any young leader, whether male or female, to read and go through. That would really empower them.
What is your response to people who think Zimbabwe is not ready for a female president?
It is not only Zimbabwe that has people saying that Zimbabwe is not a female president. I think it is actually the tragedy of Africa, because of the adopted religions that we adopted, that we feel that women are children of a lesser God. It is unfortunate that the very same people who scream that Zimbabwe is not ready for a female president were born out of a woman, raised by a woman, are who they are because of a woman. They go to work because a woman has cooked for them, has planned their finances, and is actually running their homes. But when it comes to governance issues, you'll find the very same man in this country saying that Zimbabwe is not ready for a woman president. Leadership is in the mind, it is not in the gender or the sex. And this habit of trying to make women look like objects should stop. And that change starts with us women. We are the perpetrators of violence against women, be it emotional, physical, etc., etc. If we start believing in ourselves as women, we constitute 54% of the population, and we start advocating for each other across the political divide, we can actually change the narrative. But as long as women continue being patriarchal gatekeepers in Zimbabwe, we will keep on having the same narrative being spoken about, that Zimbabwe is not ready for a woman president. There is nothing wrong with us being led by a woman, and it is going to happen, and it shall be done in due course as women continue rising up and occupying their spaces.
What would you say to all the people who say that you were captured because of your trips with Moto?
World over, people always have what are termed national problems. And when we're in national problems, we don't say this is a political party program. People should understand that the vaccination programs, which I was seeing in Victoria Falls and Kwekwe, were national government programs, not ZANU-PF programs. And there is nothing wrong in supporting a narrative that benefits the people of Zimbabwe. The problem that we have in this country is we are too polarized. We are too toxic. We cannot even converge for issues of national interest, issues that will develop our country, issues that will protect the public health in our country, because we are busy trying to fight political leaders and political personalities at the expense of our own growth as a people, at the expense of development, and at the expense of national unity and cohesion to ensure sustainable human development for future generations to come.
Do you have any plans for forging an alliance with any other political party like Chamisa or ED?
I do not have plans of forging any political alliance with any other political party in Zimbabwe. We did not form Labour, Economists and African Democrats to form an alliance with another party. We have to understand that every generation has got a mandate to lead its own. In 1963, ZANU-PF was formed to fight the socio-economic and political problems that they had. In 1999, there was a workers' problem in Zimbabwe, and the workers then, through ZCTU and other CSOs and ZINASU students' unions, etc., formed the MDC because they had a struggle that they were fighting. Come 2019, myself, other trade unions, and other leaders from different organizations decided to form a youthful party for the young people in Zimbabwe that is speaking to development, that is speaking to devolution of power, that is speaking to depolarization of our country, because we are just a divided people filled with so much hate, and there is nothing that we can develop as long as we are divided and we hate each other. And lastly, we formed Labour, Economists and African Democrats to be able to decolonize mindsets. We cannot prosper as long as we do not have self-determination. And we are hinged on ensuring that all young people in Zimbabwe have ideological clarity and that they understand the importance of voting, they understand the importance of occupying governance positions to ensure that they'll be able to transform and be the change that they want to see. It is unfortunate that over the years, young people have been taught that change happens from a political party president. Change starts with you and me. And that is the mantra that we are teaching as Labour, Economists and African Democrats, that we are all leaders. You are a leader wherever you are. And we want people to be able to plug in their communities and lead the change that they want to see. Presidents can only do so much, and they've got a lot to do at national level. But leadership starts at what level? What are we doing as councillors in our societies? Do you know your councillor? We're calling upon all young people in Zimbabwe to come and join lead, be the shadow councillors, and start leading in their communities and to show that difference that we want to see. We have gone beyond that time where we spend time doing political grandstanding, political bickering for the sake of people who stay in lavish houses wherever they stay at the expense of our own development as people in Zimbabwe. What is important is for us to understand that we have to grow ourselves, and in growing ourselves, it starts by us appreciating the political dynamics in this country. And as such, we did not form this party to go and have any alliance with any other party, but to ensure that the lead ideology becomes the ideology that developed Zimbabwe.
Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. We just have one last question for you. What is your advice to young females who want to enter into politics?
Have a reason of what you stand for. Just do not join politics to follow a crowd, but have a reason of something that you want to achieve, a legacy you want to leave. That is very important. We were all born great. We were all born great leaders, to be precise. When you look yourself in the mirror every morning and you see a great person, pursue that greatness within and let it show to the world and light up the world. You are the leader that you've been waiting for. Don't allow anyone to limit you, because you alone can limit yourself. You are great, and you should follow your greatness and ensure that you live that greatness.
Thank you so much, Linda. We'll hope to see you in 2023 for the next elections.
Thank you.